Hi, I'm DudeTheNinja, and it's time for another jam-based creative process thing. In December of 2024, the web community known as TF2 Maps hosted their annual jam. For that jam, I decided to do something that was totally not expected given my current trend in creative work. Make a robot girl. Technically. Said robot girl exists already. She's an original character of mine called Faye. Maybe in the future I'll make a video in depth regarding her design process, but for now, all you need to know is she exists, she's a maid, she's a robot, and she's purple. For the jam, I decided to turn her into a TF2 styled character. Turning her into a TF2 character is something I think is worth talking about in video form, so stick around and hopefully you find this interesting. Before the jam, I did something known as planning. This consists of lots of thinking in the shower and somehow remembering it for the time leading up to the jam. But it also consisted of some preliminary concept artwork that helped me properly understand how to make a TF2 styled robot. Sure, I had made Sabrina already, but she's very rough around the edges in terms of Team Fortress stylization, being more an interpretation of my own art style. Fortunately, working on textures for character models, the in-progress Ninja Gallery map, and warpaints for the workshop have helped me understand further the Team Fortress texture style. I began by doing a painting of what my character Aki would look like as a TF2 robot. I then did the same with Faye ahead of time because I just couldn't contain my urges regarding designing her in the TF2 style. I don't have a good segue to this next bit, but here's a segment on how to make your thing look like TF2 thing. Rather than actually give a time-lapse or clips of digital painting, mostly because I don't consider recording at the time, I'll just give some tips that help me definitely refine my perception of the TF2 visual style and art direction. This one will be on the robot character design specifically. First up, materials. The robots in Team Fortress 2 are exclusively made of metal. This metal is primarily of simple dimensions, being either angular, cut and bent flat pieces, and simple round shapes in the form of cylinders and spheres being used relatively sparingly. These metal pieces are painted solid colours, save for the occasional outlining and flat colour details, such as Sniper's vest seams and Heavy's bandolier. There's also the typical TF2 paint variants, with some slight discoloration on top of the solid colours, rust, and most importantly, edgeware. Edgeware is just an exposed silvery metal, picked out with a marker pen type brush, and is done surprisingly sparingly, usually around bits that experience more impact from the elements. The rivets are also only used to join certain pieces to each other as well. The eyes are solid colours and slightly glow because they're lights, except on Heavy, who has black eyes on his character model. Thus, my mild stylization of keeping Aki's eyes as black dots is technically still coherent to the style. The soldier doesn't have visible eyes at all, instead having a visor-like light emitting from under his helmet, which I used as inspiration for my TF2ification of Faye's eyes being hidden by her fringe. I originally had in my head the idea of just making her eyes a visor type thing like Cyclops from X-Men, but remembered how the soldier's robot eyes worked and thought that was cooler. Next up, the shape. As I said before, the parts are pretty simple metal pieces. The elbows and knees are hinges with visible screws and bolts, rather than the cutesy anime-esque doll joints I went with for Aki's regular design. Everything's angular, even on a more feminine frame. Take the Motherbot from the robotic Boogaloo promo art. She's still got her curves that spire doors, but those curves are composed of a bunch of angular pieces. The only properly round bits are the curves on her jet dress skirt bottom thing and her hair. The hair is one solid piece, but for Aki's twin tails, I incorporated separate segmented solid metal pieces. This was inspired by some completely non-TF2 related art I saw on Twitter of someone turning some, I think it was some Zenless Zone characters into robots for VR chat use, so I'll probably put a video of a demonstration or an example on screen. For the skirt on Aki, I went with separate hinged pieces attached directly to the hips. This bears a similarity to the robot Femme Scout design by Rob Bot, that will be linked below as well, although this was unintentional. It was just sort of, I guess, maybe it was subconscious, maybe it was just a coincidence, I don't know. For Faye, however, I went with a solid casing that the wheelbase is attached to, and then making the apron a hinged piece, because I felt that fits the sort of just the wheel a bit better. This bit's unscripted, but you also have to take into account colour. So, for example, obviously TF2 colours are a bit more subdued and muted, but also robots in TF2 have two skin colours: silver, or like this off-white tan painted metal look. For Aki, I gave her the sort of painted metal skin colour, but with Faye I gave her the metal skin colour because it looks a bit closer to the sort of inhuman bluish tone she has. Also, I will probably bring this up again later, but purple is not very team coloured, except in the circumstances where it is. But the purple I use is quite bright, and if I subdue it, it ends up looking a bit bluish. So, in the final model I made, when I made the team colouring variation, I decided to just hue shift the entire thing to make it a bit warmer when making a red version. Okay, back to the model. So, in the first 24 hours of the jam, I modelled her, and then I textured her live on stream when I was done with that on Saturday. If I'm able to, I don't know if YouTube lets me because I haven't set myself up for monetization yet, the card in the corner will show up and link you to the VOD. Sunday consisted of sourcifying the model. This means actually setting up the model to be used in the Source engine, both as a model for posing in the Source filmmaker, or as a prop in Hammer, and also I made her as a little following pet cosmetic, which I used the rig of the Bottom 2000 for. I also had to trim away some detail to get her under the polygon limit of the workshop import filter, which is 1400 tries. This is because I wanted to make something that, on a technical level, could be added to the game, something I hadn't really done in terms of 3D modelling before. It was a fun challenge trying to see what I could abstract and remove in order to get under those limits. You can download the original model on the TF2 Maps website, and the cosmetic version is on Game Banana as a replacement for the Robro 3000. Try saying that 3 times fast. I didn't make her a replacement for the Bottler, as I wanted the modded item to be accessible to more players, so I settled on the Robro as it is equally all-class and is quite cheap to obtain through trading. I also initially considered submitting this to the Steam Workshop, but from some pushback by comments on the Game Banana mod, I realised that I do not want to be the topic of a month of workshop-related discourse, so I retracted that statement. What I will be doing, however, is sticking the cosmetic, which I have dubbed the Mini Madebot, into my own personal Team Fortress SDK mod, currently titled Untitled DudeTheNinja mod. That way anyone playing the mod can use it for free without requiring a replacement of any existing cosmetic. The mod will slowly morph into its own thing, with TF2 item compatibility as just a fun bonus, but I'll give you more information on that when I've done some more cooking on it. That's all I have to say for this video. I apologise for the lack of a scripted video in about half a year. I wanted to get this out earlier, and then a mix of other obligations and real life issues got in the way. I think I need to actually stop having a plan for when I want videos to come out, as this was meant to come out in March and it's now July. You could probably tell because the fan is blowing in the background and I've just not put the noise cancelling in deliberately so you can tell that the fan is in the background. I think I'll focus on smaller showcase type videos when it comes to mods, as they're easier to make, and I don't tend to have much commentary on the mod itself. You can see that here with the mod taking up literally a paragraph or two out of this nearly 10-minute video, and the editing becoming quite sparse as I got tired of working on the video, which is a shame because making the stuff for the video was fun. Scripted videos might still exist, but probably as more personal videos, such as talking about my characters or my interests, as well as if I ever plan on making any opinion related videos. If you are this far into the video, genuinely, Thank you for your patience, and for sticking around to the end. Please consider leaving a like or comment to show your appreciation for the video if you like it. If you're new here, consider subscribing, as creative stuff, particularly featuring robots and consisting of 3D art and game mods, is the name of the game here. Thank you for watching, I'm still DudeTheNinja, and goodbye.